Hello guys, welcome to video lesson 6-2, mean absolute deviation. I apologize for not having any sort of cool introduction video this time. Was a little under the weather this weekend, so I didn't get out on any trails or anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and shoot the video here in my living room. Alright, let's get to the math. This is lesson 6-2. We are going to be looking at the mean absolute deviation. The mean absolute deviation is another measure of spread or variation that we're going to be taking a look at in this unit. Our learning target is that I can find and interpret the mean absolute deviation of a given set. And so let's go ahead and jump into our notes. Now, the mean absolute deviation, also known as the MAD of a data set, describes the average distance that each piece of data is away from the mean. So what this is going to kind of tell us is how close each individual point is to the mean, or whether it's really close or whether it's far apart. So let's go ahead and jump into an example and just start getting our feet wet trying to figure one of these out. Now, we can set up a handy little table to help us find the MAD, and you're going to see this table below. This is not a table that you have to use to help you do all the work, but it is something that is very convenient and does make sure that you follow the right set. On the practice, you'll see that there will be some where you are given this table and then others where you're left up on your own, whether you want to decide to make one of these tables or if you want to just go ahead and use whatever method you think is going to be the best for you. But I'm going to go ahead and show you how to find the MAD using this table, and then you can choose for yourself how you would like to proceed with that. Alright, so the first thing we're going to want to do is write our data in order from least to greatest, and we're just going to fill it into this column here that says data. So we're going to fill in, we have 48, we have 52, we have 54, we have 59, 60, and then 65. Now remember, this is called the mean absolute deviation. So one thing that's going to be important for us to be able to find is the mean. Remember, from 6-1 to find the mean, we have to add up all the numbers and divide by the total numbers that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and find our mean. So we're going to do 48 plus 52 plus 54 plus 59 plus 60 plus 65. And we're going to divide by the total number of numbers that we have, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when I add all those numbers up, I'm going to get 338 divided by 6, which is going to give us a decimal. We're going to have to round a little bit. When we are working with the MAD, we're going to want to round to 2 decimal places. And so when you type this into your calculator, we're going to find that this is approximately equal to 56.33. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that number and fill it in on each column or each row of the column that says mean. So I'm just going to put 56.33 all the way down until I have filled up the entire column. Alright, now the next thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to find the difference between the data and the mean. And that's what I'm going to put in this third column here. So what I want to do is I want to go through and subtract each of these numbers and see what I get. So I'm just going to subtract across. So I do 48 minus 33, and we're going to get negative 8.33. I'm going to get negative 4.33. Going to get negative 2.33. I'm going to get 2.67. I'm going to get 3.67. And finally, I'm going to get 8.67. Alright, the next step I'm going to need to do, notice in our name it's the mean absolute deviation. So we found the mean. Now we need to take a look at that absolute part of the mean absolute deviation. We're going to have to take the absolute value of each of the numbers inside here. Now we haven't really talked about about absolute value this year, but you have seen it in middle school. What that basically means is we're finding how far away this number is away from 0. And when we're talking about distance, we always want positive numbers. So when we take the absolute value, it's going to take whatever's inside and turn it positive. If it's negative, it's going to become positive. And if it's positive already, it's going to stay positive. So we're going to do 4.33. That becomes positive now. We're going to get positive 4.33. We're going to get positive 2.33. We're going to get positive 2.67, a positive 3.67, and a positive 8.67. All right, so we filled out all four of these rows, or all four of these columns rather. And now what we need to do is add all of these up. We want to add the 8.33 plus the 4.33 plus the 2.33 plus the 2.67 plus the 3.67 plus the 8.67. And when we do that, we're going to get a sum of 30. It's going to add up and give us 30 when we add those all up together. Now, when we say count, we're talking about how many data points did we use. So it's going to be the same number that we used up here for the mean, because we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these as well. Now, our final step to get the MAD is to take that sum, which was 30, and divide it by our count, which is 6, and that's going to give us a MAD of 5. So what this means is that each of these data points, on average, is about 5 units away from our mean of 56.33. So this gives us a good estimate on how far apart this data is, or how close together this data is. Alright, so just to summarize how we found the MAD, the first thing you want to always do is find the mean. If you need to review how to find the mean, look back at lesson 6-1 in the video that Ms. Blaylock made. Our step 2 is going to be to find the difference between the mean and each data point. So we took each data point and subtracted the mean. Our third step would be to take the absolute value. Basically what we're doing is making each of those differences positive. And then finally we want to find the mean of the values we found in step 3 when we took the absolute value of everything. And that's going to find your MAD. Again, it's up to you whether you want to use the table or if you want to find your own way of organizing this as you go through this. So talking a little bit more about what the MAD actually means, it allows us to compare two data sets. The higher the value of MAD is, the more spread out or inconsistent the data will be. Instead of being a close together data set, it's going to be spread further apart. But if we have a lower value of the MAD, that data is going to be closer together and more consistent, because each piece of data is going to be less far away from the mean than a MAD that had a higher set. Alright, so looking at an example, we might be asked something like, which data set shows more consistency? Group A with a MAD of 4.3, or Group B with a MAD of 3.4. So if we remember, the higher the MAD, the more spread out the data is going to be, the less consistent it's going to be. So we're looking for the group that has the most consistency. So we want that MAD to be as small as possible. So when we look at Group A with 4.3 and Group B with 3.4, we're going to want the one that's smaller, which is of course the 3.4. So we're going to say that Group B has it because it has a smaller MAD. Because 3.4 is of course less than 4.3. Alright, that wraps it up for your notes. Please make sure you complete the practice and then pick up application 6-2 from the Algebra Embassy, and we'll see you in the next video. See you guys later.